Everybody. So today I'm going to get some help out on the FC. Tracy has been cooped up all week and wants to help with the restoration process on the FC. So she's going to start cleaning up the interior, start sanding up the interior, and getting the ceiling is kind of all screwed up on this. So she's going to start cleaning that up. So this week, guys, I went to the salvage yard and picked up a brand new sheet of steel because I wasn't sure how long they were going to stay open for, and I just wanted to make sure I had enough resources for working on the FC to finish it. So I grabbed another sheet of the 20 gauge steel, and so what I was thinking is I'm going to stop working on the bed for the moment. I was thinking as far as the size of the projects that I'm going to be working on, the cover for the motor is the biggest one. And I wanted to give myself a couple of chances for mistakes. If I cut the pieces for it and I screw up somehow, that I'd have a chance to redo the piece, not run out of metal. Because really any of the pieces now for patching the bed can be just small pieces or thin pieces. So I just figured out while I have the metal, I'll start on that. So that's what I'm going to do. I notice I have a couple more new subscribers, and welcome to the channel. And I gotta say again, like I always do, I really appreciate the views that I do get. I can tell there's a certain amount of people that follow it weekly, and I really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope through what we're going through now that this just gives you something to watch while you're hanging out. But I'm going to try to continue making these videos, which shouldn't be a problem. I have enough resources and should have enough time to do them. So let's get to work. So I went out and got some measurements for the cover. This is a top view of the outline or the perimeter of the cover, and this is a vertical view or back view of the first dimensions of the cover. So this is towards the back of the cab, and this is like showing the grill that's in the back. And so I'm going to work off of that measurement and these measurements here. I'm going to make this part first. I'm going to make this one piece. It's going to come up from this point here, go over, and then drop back down. Then I'm going to place that in the cab and get measurements for the front and then the two triangles on the side. They're not fully triangles, but they're kind of like almost that triangle shape. So that's the process I'm going to do. I don't know if it's 100% correct for the vehicle, but I could see that would be the easiest way, and I feel like more accurate way to get these measurements. I got the rough measurements of what the footprint of it is, but it's going to definitely be better to get the actual measurements once I get this one piece made. So I'm going to get set up to do that now. To start, when I get these measurements, I'm going to start by making a reference mark, which is this right here. This is going right across the whole sheet. And that is this right angle measurement from the back of the cab to the point where it changes an angle here. That's where I'm going to make this into one piece. So I don't want this to go any further than that point right there. So that is 20 1/8, and that's what that mark is. So now I'm going to work from the back to the front and then work on the sides. All right, so the first measurement I'm going to get is I'm going to center this on the sheet. Just so I have equal amounts, it's going to be kind of easier to get my measurements instead of working off one side. So this is a 4-foot sheet. So I'm going to measure off the center and get a center line going across. now off of this side here, this is going to be the part that's towards the windshield. So I'm going to measure up and have some allowable cutoff pieces here. I'm going to go up to 1 7/8 and have that as a cutoff point where I can remove some of the metal to make the sides come down even so they're not at an angle. Now I'm going to measure back the 20 1/8, and that's going to be my span that it's going to go back. That's going to be the point from the front to where it meets the back of the cab. Now the back measurement where it meets the back of the cab, that's 23 1/4. So I'm going to go 11 5/8 off of each side. And that will give me the 23 1/4. Now I'm going to go towards the front. And go 8 7/8 of each side. And that's going to give me the 17 3/4. I'll just connect those two marks, if you guys can see that good. All right, so now I'm going to focus on the sides that are going to bend down and meet the actual body of the cab. So I believe these have to be bent down at a right angle because this is bigger in the back and gets smaller in the front. I have to make this bend at a right angle to this line right here. So I got to just make sure where I'm getting this measurement, when I'm getting this measurement, that I'm getting it at a right angle and not, not at this angle. I want to be at a right angle to that line. And that measurement is 12 3/8. So I'm going to get that measurement here. 12 3/8. And I'm also going to get it here. Now this is the reason why we have the extra material in the front. So I'm going to get this measurement here, mark that. And now I'm going to make a line from this point here at a right angle, which should equal the amount that I allowed in the front. So right there, I'm going to go from this point here up to that line. Now this line here is discontinued. Now I'm going to do the same towards the back of the cab. Now I'm going to repeat that on the other side. All right, so this is a top view of what the cutout's going to look like. Now if all of my measurements are right, it should work out pretty good. So I'll get to cutting. All right, so now I'm going to cut the piece out. I'm going to use my power shear. I have to say, these power shears are pretty handy. I got this at a flea market for $10 and I've used it quite a bit. It's definitely paid itself off. But it's definitely worthwhile going to flea markets and yard sales to try to get tools. I've had really good luck with that. I want to say majority of my tools are all flea market finds. It would definitely be better to have a plasma cutter, but for the amount that I do, this works out pretty well. Great, so now that I get those all cut out, now we'll bring it over to the brake and bend it along this line and that line. I just got to make sure I don't bend it along that middle line because that's my center reference mark. But I'll just make sure I just bend on those. This is definitely working better now that I have it dialed in. I had to adjust the blade back a little bit so it would be even along the edges. I'm gonna this side a little bit, line it up. Kind of lubed it up too a little bit because it was working kind of stiff. I must say that is pretty nice using a brake. I used to just use a hammer and just bang it against a piece of I-beam, but this is much better. So that worked out pretty well. That's nice and tight to the back. It goes along the top here. I'm gonna actually put some support in this so it has a straight line going across here. But now what I'm gonna do here is make a line from this here. I kept this longer for a reason because I wanted to be able to make a cut at the top, right at this seam right here, or right at that bend I should say, and line up with it in place. I want to line up with this this seam here and make a line and continue up to the top. And what I'm going to do is cut that there and actually just bend it. So this will be an added support for this triangle piece that comes up here. So the next step after I cut that, I'm going to also make a piece that follows the contour of this here and goes up and meets that line right there. So that's going to be just basically a square or rectangle piece that comes up and has a bend that goes inside of here, and then we'll be able to weld right across there. That will give added support in the middle here because there'll be a nice bend which will add some rigidity to this. But this is a good start. So I'm going to do that now, and I'll meet you back in the garage. I got it just tacked in on the top, and it comes down to the front there. So now I'm going to make up this triangle piece for both sides. I'll get those measurements and cut those up. I'm also going to put a support in the back, just to that it's really kind of floppy in the middle here. So I'm going to bend up an angle piece and weld that across the middle, and I'll just like support it in the back and give it some rigidity. All right, so I'll bring you back when I get that done. So I got the triangles cut out to go on the angle pieces here. I actually have one ready for welding here. It's all prepped up. I have a weight leaning against it to make it a little tighter against that seam right there. But today I'm actually got some company out in the garage. My son Shane is working on his cafe racer build. And Shane, what are you up to today?
Today I'm taking the original chain guard, and I feel like it's a little bit too long, and it kind of comes back and it extends and covers the rear end of it, but I figured that it'd be cool to kind of have that more exposed, so I'm going to try to make one that's more of just this beginning section here and have a cooler design than having just a sticker that has random information.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's cool. This is a bike that he's worked on for like the last year here and there. He's been going to school, so whenever he gets a chance, he works on it. I'm gonna actually do a spotlight video coming up. I have some pictures of the before and after, but it's pretty cool. It's definitely a fun looking bike. It definitely is running really well right now. But I'll bring you back after I get these welded up. This triangle piece is done. I got them just tacked in. I just want to make sure everything was going to work out well. I like it. I think it looks pretty good. I put a angle piece in the back, made that nice and rigid. So the next step is gonna be making the holders to hold this down. So basically I have to make a metal piece that will hold this ball just like that. So it's gonna come off of here and make it so these hold it here. So I'm going to do that right now, and I'm going to get measurements to where they go. There's 4 of them. There's one in the back and one in the front on each side. So I'm going to do that now. The brackets I made, I pre-drilled a hole here with a taper bit, and then I bent this profile just so it has a place to hold that ball. I bent up the ends at a slight angle, and now I'm just going to weld it on. I made some marks where they're supposed to go. That's where that ball ends up landing on that holder. So now I'm going to just weld that in place, and we'll try it out. I'm just going to raise them up a little bit higher so there's a little bit more tension on that, but that works out good. Now I'll just repeat the process on the other 3. Well, that was a good job done today. I got the welds, a lot of the welds done, but I ran out of wire. I had a little blowout here, so I'm going to have to clean that up. But I have all the holders for the straps. I got those all mounted, and they're mounted in a good place where there's a good amount of tension on it. So this is actually in there pretty solid. So I basically achieved today what I wanted to achieve. What I'm liking is this taper right here falls right up through here. I wasn't sure how I was going to be able to do that, but it ended up working out pretty well. So what I'm going to have to do is eventually take this out, finish welding it, prime it. I just wanted to, while I had that fresh sheet of metal, I wanted to basically get the shape of the cover and at least get it in place. I still have to make a door at the top here so I can gain easy access to the oil, the dipstick, the oil, and the radiator cap. I looked them up, the way the covers look on these, and it shows a door on the top here, like a hinge door. But I can easily do that after. That's not a big deal. I just wanted to make sure I had enough metal. As you can see, there's a lot of metal in this cover. So while I had a clean sheet, I just want to make sure I had enough. If you look on the other side, it looks pretty good also. I still have to clean up some of these welds and stuff like that, but I'm not worried about that. So that I feel like that was a good job done today. Tomorrow, I'd like to continue on the bed. This is actually a Saturday that I'm working on this. I had a free day and it was going to be a nice day today, so I figured I would take some time and work on this. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Tracie did a real good job cleaning up the ceiling. She sanded all the sides, worked her way down. She sanded all this up. I gotta tell you, she really helps out a lot doing a lot of this stuff, and she's very meticulous with it. Probably a lot more than I would be. A lot of times I just go through and we'll scrape it up, clean it up, and paint it. But she's very meticulous, and I really appreciate that. So yeah, that's going to be pretty much it for today. It looks like we're going to get some rain. It's getting a little cloudy out there. So I think I'm going to finish it up for the day. Well, everybody have a great week this week. The next video I'll post is next Sunday, and I'll see you then. Thanks, guys.